What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. We're close to the end, Jay. It's almost over. We've only got 2 more episodes, including this one, to talk about, and then the Upside Down will forever be closed. And boy, are we getting into the nitty gritty of the finalizing of all the storylines in this episode, including the scene that took him 24 hours to film. Apparently, I don't understand that at all. But anyway, we're here to talk about it all with my Hair Life mate Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I'm sure, like I always say, one day we'll get this stuff right. If you saw, by this time it might be changed, but I know the thumbnail's wrong, but it's okay. We'll get there eventually. That's all right. Another news though, I'm really excited because I just heard that Jay and Silent Bob are already scheduled for the next Comic-Con that I always go to. So I might actually, since I already have both of their signatures, I might pop their signatures on that bad boy, wherever it is, right back there. He's already got Dante, or out there in the corner. And usually, like I said, Brandon Halloran shows up. So does Rosario Dawson, which I don't have hers, and I feel like I'd be paying out the ass just for her because she's in that little indie IP called Star Wars now. So yeah, Becky's down to the big leagues, I guess. So what do I know? But I'll start filling that thing up. Maybe I'll eventually find Jeff Anderson, which that'll be a hard thing to do. Try and find Elias or something, but that'd be sweet to have everybody on there eventually.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to find time in my schedule to go to that particular Comic-Con. If Jay and Silent Bob,
I keep telling you,
and Brian O'Halloran probably. I know.
Probably.
I'm going to have
like I said, when he shows up, Rosario shows up usually. So, yeah.
And I myself also with the everlasting crush on Rosario Dawson because of that amazing smile, and of course her acting talent. But yeah, there might be some vlogging coming from 1 or 2 of these things at some point in the next 12 months. We'll work it out one way or the other. Let's see, BJ here to start us off as always. Hello, BJ. I hope you're doing wonderful tonight, dear. Let's get right down to the nitty gritty of it. This episode starts off with something that we've long awaited, and that's Max waking up.
Yep.
But it is to some questions. The episode begins in darkness as Lucas calls out to Max. Slowly she responds. Her eyes flutter open, and she tells her she can't feel much, but she can feel his hand in hers. Lucas stays close, assuring her that he never stopped believing she was there. Mike and 11 also arrive moments later, stunned to see that Max is awake. Mike breaks the tension with a brief joke before Max asks the question that cuts through the room: have they found Holly? And boy, this was a emotional kind of something we've been waiting for a while, followed up immediately by, hey, let's get back to the tension of the moment. What do you think about this opening scene with Max finally returning to the right side up and us going headlong into all the chaos that just comes next?
Yeah, that's what we've been waiting for. Max is basically, I guess, medically in the right side up. She's been kind of just in this coma. But herself, I guess, her spirit or her mind or something, we don't really know, but I don't think we're going to get it fully explained, was trapped inside of Henry's mind for probably the better part of a year and a half. So, yeah, it's awesome. She finally got her way back into the real world. And yeah, that was some emotional acting from both Max and Lucas. Like, damn. It kind of gave me some like Matrix vibes, like when Neo wakes up in the real world for the first time, he's like, "Why do my eyes hurt?" Like Morpheus is like, "You've never used them before." It's like, yeah, Max, you haven't used your body again for quite a while, so yeah, you're not gonna be used to it. It's gonna suck. You're gonna have to, recover back through this. And yeah, it's finally we're finally getting the gang back together for the, the big final hurrah. So. And then the only thing left now is to, I think, as they say in a scene or so later, it's like, oh, all we gotta do now is go in there, get Holly, kill Vecna, shut down the Upside Down, and go home. Simple stuff, guys. Yeah. So one step closer. Yeah, it's cool to see her back finally. Even though she's gonna be on the slow roll for right now.
Well, I mean, in the finale, she is back to her old ways. Well, I don't know if you watched this, so I go too much into it, but
I have not.
yeah, she plays her part in the finale. I'll say that much. But
So wait, so in one episode, you're telling me she just pops back up?
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
in context, when you see it, the context will
Okay.
make
Okay.
When you
All
see
right.
it, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's how she plays her role in the end game. But yeah, I thought this was a great way to kind of start the finality of what was going to come over, not just this episode, but obviously the final episode, which comes next. But yeah, the long wait has been over. The long wait has been ongoing for a long time, and obviously it's over now. Max is back, which is great. But again, not very long lasting, because the crux of this entire season, for the most part, has been getting Holly Wheeler, and obviously she tried to position it to where her and Holly would get out at the same time, but there was a lot of things she just did not know in the moment, and that obviously plays out with Holly a little later on. She also warns that something pretty important, that Vecna is going to retaliate now that he knows she escaped. He essentially saw the whole thing happen. And when she left Camazotz, she could not see where Holly's portal led. So she's not even sure. I mean, is Holly back in the real world? Is she still stuck somewhere out there? She doesn't yet know some of the things that we already know. So it's it's a situation for sure that definitely leads on everything else. But it is nice to see Max back in the world of the living, fully alive and breathing in her own body, not living in some weird M-shaped cave, and positioning herself to be a part of the final battle. But the question then becomes: is exactly where does Holly go? Where does she wake up at? And instead of walking into the upside down, Holly actually regains consciousness while embedded in the same wall where Henry stored the other children. Derek and Iris are still trapped nearby. Holly tears the tendrils from her mouth and pulls free, coughing up a dark shadow that dissolves into the air. Holly then runs, and tripping, of course, on on a rock, because clumsy kids do that, and notices a thing in the ground and forces it open just as Vecna reaches her. It is actually a portal back into the upside down from the abyss, which is being called. Holly dives into the opening and falls through open space, screaming, before dropping into the upside down itself. And boy, again, a very cool visual right here. I mean, kind of terrifying. There's a touch of Avatar with like the floating mountains and all that, but I can imagine falling through cloud-filled sky with lightning and floating rocks and falling some more. That's kind of a terrifying thought for anybody, let alone a child. Her cries do echo in the Hawkins lab in the Upside Down, where Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, and Dustin have regrouped after escaping the melting room. They rush to the room just in time to see Holly suspended in midair. Nancy calls out to her, but Vecna pulls Holly back into the sky. Holly is once again taken, and that moment of celebration that we thought we were going to get at the end of the last episode snatched from us very quickly, immediately after the happiness of getting Max back in the real world, the confusion of where's Holly, and then just into this sadness and disappointment that Holly did not exactly escape. Boy, this is the first few before, and this is all happening before the opening credits rolled, by the way. Definitely a roller coaster ride the first 5 or 10 minutes of this episode. What do you think about where Holly really woke up? Was that a good way to introduce us to the abyss, to a better look at the abyss?
Yeah, I figured somehow we're gonna have to be able to see this place through somebody's eyes. And to Max's credit, I mean, she didn't even know that too about the Upside Down, that it was not its own thing per se. It's just that it's a gateway between the two worlds of I guess what we're now calling the abyss. Thank you, Dustin, and the right side up. So. Yeah, she's the character vehicle for showing us like where this is at and where Vecna truly is. Now we actually, we know where he's at. Kind of a terrifying shot when like Holly gets up, she looks up and like he's like right there, floating, suspended from the other tendrils and stuff. And it's weird that it's actually kind of like weirdly bright there. I think Rachel pointed that, she's like, "Why is it so bright in here?" I'm like, I kind of like it because I'm like, sometimes there is something really weird about like and terrifying about something that is that scary just in this kind of almost harsh sunlight that it's, I don't know, something about it is still kind of terrifying, like in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of way. It's like that scene of him twirling that chainsaw around after you just spent the last like 10 minutes chasing this bitch with a chainsaw, and it's just that harsh sunrise coming up above him, and just there's something weird about it that is just off-putting.
Yeah, against the beauty of the rising sun, you've got Leatherface swinging, doing the chainsaw dance.
Yeah, you got
that's a great visual. That's great moving right there.
Yeah, you got a cannibal chainsaw wielder, and against this really really cool sunrise. Kind of the same thing. Because as soon as I said that, I'm like, well, you don't expect it to always be all dark and spooky, creepy. I'm like, oh, and then boom, there's the upside down. I'm like, well, that's what the upside down's for. That's the as Robin puts it, it's just like Hawkins, only suckier. Yeah, that's what that's for. Again, a 10 seat because like when we realized that's the way through, or at least that's the way back through from there to the upside down, and you're just free falling through the sky. It's like, oh damn. So it does have that extra, the pun intended, an extra layer of like, okay, what do we do about that though? Like you essentially fall out of the sky from the abyss to the upside down, and I thought, again, being able to act like you said, act with your face, your eyes. Watching Nancy come out there and almost just like shaking her head, I was like, yeah, that can't be the end of Holly. She didn't just smack face first into the Hawkins lab and the upside down and just splattered. I'm like, that can't be it. But it's all still the more gut wrenching that like she just stops right. It's like you almost think you could just reach out and just grab her back. But then of course, what is that? Is that Godfather? Like just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And whoop, she just gets yanked back up there from through Vecna. So if he wasn't pissed before, he's definitely kind of pissed now. She almost escaped. So
yeah, I love the color contrast between the upside down that we've known for this entire show and this abyss. I thought it was very interesting. You can't just make it another dark place with the red hue. It wouldn't look very cool. The fact that it's got these colors, then of course we have the mind flare, which is a pretty that's something straight out of like Dark Crystal or something like that. That's a great visual.
Yeah, that's some Lovecraftian like Dark Crystal type shit. Yeah, I love it. That's a cool visual.
That's the kind of poster I want. Like I want that poster on my wall.
That's an art piece, yeah.
Yeah, but an amazing visual. Again, it's there is something that can be kind of beautiful about desolation. There's something beautiful about just looking at desert, because there is so much out there. Just because it's not visible doesn't mean there isn't a vibrance. That it just looks like that. It's a very scary kind of beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But where Holly does wake up, and I guess I'll go back to the pitch that I used a minute ago that I lost. Is obviously he gets her back. I'll use this one because I think this is kind of a cool visual too. Instead of waking the upside down, she regains consciousness embedded in the same wall where Henry stored the other children. She ran. Did I already know this already? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, that's where she woke up.
I did.
Now she gets put back into the wall again. Like I said, now at least she kind of knows now that there is that. She's kind of there's a space between spaces that she can get through.
Yeah, but she does end up back in the wall, recaptured, reassimilated into the hive. But they'll take care of that. That gets taken care of in the next episode. You'll see that for sure. But
I'm sure.
Moving on, elsewhere, Erica has recruited Mr. Clark to help locate Dustin using a makeshift experiment. Snookums. Clark, Erica, and Murray pinpoint his coordinates and relay them to Lucas and the others. The group converges on Hawkins' lab just as Mike insists they need to get to the Wheeler house in the Upside Down. Dustin's voice crackles over the radio, suggesting they may have already found Ollie. With Eleven's help, they enter the Upside Down through a newly opened rift and reunite with Steve, Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan. However, the relief of this reunion is brief, as they are told that Holly was taken yet again. So I think that's all I have for that. Yeah, but again, it's a roller coaster ride to the finish in this. There's a lot of ups and downs. We haven't had a lot this season. We haven't had a lot of the crew together doing stuff. They've been separated for the vast majority of the season. It wasn't until episode 6 that we finally got a lot of them together again. What do you think of this moment? Kind of the technical aspect of it is probably one of the last times we're going to see the nerds nerd out the 80s nerds to nerd out and do nerdy stuff to help the cause. But also it does give us a chance to kind of experience Mr. Clark again. Well, I don't think Mr. Clark was in last season, as I recall. But yeah, definitely get more and more people involved as we get towards the end of this thing. What do you think of this whole scene and the interaction? Because I thought this was mostly a comedic moment, a comedic series that happens in these couple scenes. But you got to have it in this show. So what do you think about Mr. Clark coming in and helping triangulate from another dimension, which I've always thought was funny?
Well, it's essentially kind of the same thing that Dustin had kind of figured out. Like, we can, when we do these crawls, we can figure out where people are at and what, in relation to Hawkins, and then the upside down version of it. So, and obviously, like that, we know that's where Dustin gets it from. He's Mr. Clark's, star student. And it is kind of funny that, well, obviously, I mean, it's because Murray's here. I mean, it's always going to be a good scene to break the tension when, when he's around. But yeah, it's using everybody's abilities to their advantage right now. Having the nerds do their thing is definitely going to help. And it's hilarious to get people that don't, they're not caught up on this. Like, even somebody like Mrs. Wheeler, where they're trying to explain to her, like, wait, so by the way, there's this upside down, there's this extra thing, and then there's also like Demogorgons and stuff like that. And then trying to explain it to someone like Mr. Clark, who I'm sure is probably more fascinated by it, because when he sees it, he's probably like, oh my god, this is crazy. You know what I mean? This is getting the characters with the high intelligence stats into the party now to help push things along. I love that even Hopper kind of like just rolls his eyes when they're still sitting down there all planning. Here's Hawkins, here's this bridge between the worlds, and here's the abyss. And then they're like, what is that? And they're like, that's a D&D thing. And he's like, oh my god. And I'm like, dude, have you not been following? Come on, Hopper. That's essentially what this is. I think like even I think even Erica and pretty sure Mr. Clark even says it too. It's like, dude, just come on. Roll the punches. This is how this works. I don't know how else to explain it to you.
Yeah, again, it got kind of explained already in previous episodes, but it hasn't been explained to like the entire group. It is kind of funny how you figured by now Hopper would just kind of be part of down with the lingo, like I mean, because Demogorgons and Vecna and all this stuff are all D&D references anyway. But you figure he'd been down with it by now. But I did think it was cool that as they're explaining to everybody, like all these people that in the beginning of the show in season 1, if you'd explained this shit to them like that, they'd have been like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? You've gone insane. Come with us to the padded room. But now all these people are totally into it. They totally get what's happening. It's like Joyce, Hopper, Mr. Clark, all these people that would have been like, all right, you guys need to go to detention, go to timeout for this crazy shit.
And Robin's girlfriend too. I'm like, yeah, you're in it now too, man. You're kind of here for the ride. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, then of course, like you were saying, back at the Squawk, Dustin gathers everyone and finally lays out the full picture. The Upside Down is not another dimension; it's a bridge. Hence the name of this particular episode: a wormhole tearing through space and time, held together by exotic matter suspended above Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down. The other side of the bridge is another realm entirely, which Dustin refers to as the Abyss. When 11 touched the Abyss remotely, the bridge formed. So she has a part of it forming as well. Ever since Henry has been using it to cross back into Hawkins after being injured last season, he retreated to the Abyss before returning even stronger. Will then goes on to explain why Henry keeps taking children. I had a picture of the kids. I don't know what the hell I do with it. Here's the kids right there. Will explains why Henry keeps taking the children. Their minds are easier to shape. Henry used Will before to amplify his power and intends to use the same with the other children. That's why he needed more of them. Max then recalls Holly saying that Henry planned to draw the worlds together. And then Steve asks how long it's going to take. No one knows, of course, but we've all been focused on November 6th, which is the day, as we go into this episode. So now they know that there's a big plan to put together in a short time to do it. That's exactly what they did in the scene for the most part. Again, big exposition dump for everybody who hadn't heard it before, at least in the series. It seems like everybody's pretty well caught up as far as their team is concerned now. headlong into the breach. And we see it a little bit later in this episode. Is there's some pretty cool things that happen, some nice throwbacks to the last season. But what do you think about where they all are right now? Finally, they're kind of cohesed a lot more. There's not like half of them in the upside down, half of them in the right side up, and then them split up to do different things. Now it's that moment at the third act of every A-Team episode back in the 80s where they build the cool thing and do the cool shit. They have this desperate plan, and we'll go into that in a second. Again, is it finally that point to where, like I said, sometimes you have the episode where all the pieces are put in place for the final push to the end game. Is that kind of what this moment was to use? Kind of the amalgamation of that.
Yeah, like I said, building up, and we're building up towards this big final confrontation. Because I'm pretty sure the team is all here, right? The whole party is here except for Holly, and I hope you have a picture of him somewhere. But even dipshit Derek, there's a good picture. That's pretty much everybody. I think everybody that's at least important, they was going to be important to this thing moving forward is here now, finally. And like I said, I think our crux again is trying to get Holly back, somehow stop these worlds from merging and killing Vecna in the process, which is a lot to do. So yeah, like I said, we finally have a plan. It feels like it's all building up towards that, and then that's in the next 4.5 hour, whatever the hell this last episode is going to be. It's like 2.5 hours or something.
It was a minute, yeah. Honestly, it goes by pretty quickly, though. I mean, that's with because there's like an epilogue at the end of it where it kind of gives you an idea as to where everybody's headed when it's all said and done. But but still, it's the episode goes pretty quick. It was very well edited, very well shot. So I'll give them that much for the final episode.
I don't know why, too. That picture too of those kids. I know they're kids, but these kids infuriate the shit out of me. Like more so than I would think. And I look, for legal reasons, this is a joke, but I would want to punch every single one of them in the face. I know kids are supposed to be stupid, but I'm like, there's no way all of you are this stupid. Even when you're being groomed by like a fucking dark wizard overlord, such as Vecna. I'm like, really? Every single one of you are just like this brainwashed that he's again. I could just pitch meeting you right now. It was just super easy, barely an inconvenience. These kids don't like really. You're just like not concerned at all that like you're in this other weird place with a stranger. Like it's the 80s. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are at? Apparently you don't.
Well, yeah.
That's another reference for the kids right there.
There's another one for the kids. No, it kind of makes sense. It's very Lord of the Flies in a way. I don't know if you ever read that book or not, or familiar with the story. It is kind of Lord of the Flies.
So, Rachel was saying, she's like, "This is Lord of the Flies." I'm like, "I know."
Yeah,
it is.
It's definitely kind of like that. But if you think about it, it makes sense because the whole reason why he picks kids is because he can't pick two people like you and me who are grown adults because we're going to be like, dude, fuck you, Vecna. We know you're full of shit. I'm not getting into your windowless van. I'm not taking your candy and let you yank me in the windowless van. I'm smarter than that. These kids aren't.
They don't seem the least bit concerned at all. Is this kind of what got me? I was like,
well, for one, it was the 80s, and for two, I think every kid at that age is a little too trusting. Even in modern times, some kids are a little too trusting.
I guess.
So it's like I can't tell you how many times I've gotten my 7-year-old nephew to go, tell his mom some kind of F word in Spanish because he doesn't know what it means. It's like go tell your mama chingate puta, and he's just like, hey mom, and then he just spits it out, and then she's like, Frank, the hell you teaching him? Yeah, it's like, so yeah, he doesn't know. So that's kind of the whole point, is that these kids are easily fooled, not helped by the fact that dipshit Derek, who has gone back to being dipshit Derek, after seeing the visions, is not willing to back her up. At least not in that moment, anyway. So
I really hope you had a play, Derek. I really hope you were trying to like actually pick the right moment, because I'm like, maybe he is actually trying to. And in that moment, that's not the time to try and break that news. I'm like, I want to have hope for you, Derek. But as soon as he just goes like, oh yeah, I don't think we can believe her. Max is a liar. I'm like, damn it, you're back to dipshit Derek. No, straight to jail. Straight to jail.
Go away. No extra pudding for you at dinner, asshole.
Go think about what you did.
Eat your pie, Derek. Eat your pie. But
we need Eric to come in with a pie.
Eat your pie and take a nap. Go to sleep, fucker. But as the plans does start to take shape, Hopper proposes using a helicopter stationed at the upside down base to fly into the abyss, rescue the children, kill Vecna. Dustin immediately points out the flaws in that. There is no clear way to reach something floating thousands of feet in the air. I don't know how easily you'd be able to fly a helicopter through that webbed gate.
Yeah, I was even like, Hopper, I don't think you're just gonna fly right through that thing, man.
Well, he's more of a straightforward punch through the obstacle thing anyway, rather than think away.
I know.
But
every toolbox needs a hammer, but the hammer is not the right tool for the job right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's a screw, you know what I mean? But Steve does interrupt with another idea. They don't actually need to climb to the abyss. They just need to wait for the abyss to get low enough for them to reach it from the antenna that is at the squawk station in the upside down. Dustin adds one final step on the way out. They're going to drop a bomb near the exotic matter. And when it detonates, the bridge is going to collapse, taking the abyss and everything connected to it with it. It's going to erase the upside down and everything. So now we have the frameworks of the big finale that we're going to get in the next episode. Jay, talk to me about how that plan comes together. Did it work out for you? Was there anything that kind of had you rolling your eyes a little bit at the plan? Because part of me kind of was listening to it at first. I was like, I don't feel like it's going to go that way, but they seemed pretty intent on making it happen. So I just kind of went with it as I was watching the episode for the first time. What do you think of this scene where they plan everything and they're all finally together again? They're planning everything and they're getting their shit together.
Well, as you even know from this show, and it does mirror playing D&D. It doesn't matter how much you plan something out or you think this A, B, C, D, and E is going to happen in this order. It's going to go like this. It's like, no, it's not. Trust me, it is not. The randomness comes from the rolls, right? You try to, you roll and something just dicks you over and you get a low roll. And that's why you roll with the punches. At least we have the foundation for a plan. We have a solid idea of what we should do. While it is kind of ballsy because we're like, oh, we're just going to wait. And it's like, man, you don't know what's going to probably happen. And, everything's going to get worse and worse and worse as it gets closer. That's kind of my only issue with that plan is I'm like, I don't know what else you'd do. But, I don't know. That it seems like a solid idea to just try to climb the radio tower to get close enough to get through there, because then that's a little bit less resources of trying to get in there and get like Hopper was saying, get a helicopter and just kind of go through the ceiling, as it were. I know it's not going to go exactly the way you guys think, but it's a plan nonetheless. But I guess with the waiting, it gives them time to prep. But on the flip side, that gives Vecna some time to still do what he needs to do, which I think we saw a tidbit of at the end, which I'm sure we'll get there and talk about that. That was a creepy scene.
Yeah, I honestly, I'll go into it more in a minute, but I kind of giggled when I first saw it because I was reminded of something else. I'll tell you when we get there. But I get
about somewhere drinking Kool-Aid and stuff like that. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if you were thinking that, but that's all you kids are.
I get it, but I was thinking of a comedy movie. I'll go into it when I get there.
Oh, okay.
But there's a lot of this scene is interesting because while this is all happening, there's a lot of prep work and a lot of setup that's happening between certain characters. It's like, for one, we have this conversation between Hopper and Joyce. He clearly does not trust what's her name?
Callie.
Not Kay. Callie. He clearly does not trust Callie. This to me, like I said, at this point, I'm watching this and I still don't know if Callie is a good guy or not. I mean, it's what are her intentions?
I don't trust her as far as I could throw her. I'm kind of with Hopper. I'm sorry. I'm with Hopper on this one.
Yeah, this to me, it did a great job at sowing the seeds of distrust in Callie. And I don't know if it's odd to me that Hopper is the only one seeing it. I know that maybe Elle's got a reason to kind of at least take what she says with a certain amount of truth, because they both have walked the same path. They both have gone through these experiments. They both have known Henry. They both, whatever, they've been through all that stuff. So for her to trust her, it makes sense, but for Hop not to trust her also makes perfect sense. And the conversation between Hop and Joyce in this moment right here is just, I thought it was interesting because I was like, you are setting up a very big point of contention that can happen at a very important point of the story between maybe the two most important characters. So I was like, wow, you are teeing up a big moment right here if that ends up being the case. That was the one thing that I liked. The other thing that I kind of liked is, the bromance is still alive. Obviously,
it's back.
It's back. The bromance is back. You get a couple of great shots. One of them that jumped out at me was the murder shot. It's like that's straight out of a horror movie. Like the killer is like he's got the implement and he's making his mind up in that moment that he's going to chop somebody's head off. The other one is kind of the completion of the way back between Dustin and Steve, where he finds the spear in the corner and he hands it to Steve. I don't know if you've noticed or not. In this shot, it's very clear. He's wearing the ghillie suit that for the final episode of season 4, and also Steve is wearing the jacket that he was wearing in the final episode of that season as well. So there is a full circle moment. If for nobody else, for these two characters, their bromance is still it's right back to where it needs to be to keep us satisfied. The other one is this conversation that takes place between Kaylee and Elle. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'm sure I do. But it's again, they've alluded to it a couple times over the course of the last few episodes. But this is a really deep conversation about how this may have to end for victory to truly be achieved. Very interesting conversation between those two taking place in the black area where they're just walking on water. What do you think of these moments as they start to set the characters up for the final run? Because this is the kind of thing that you do when a couple of people are going to die and you're trying to ingratiate them onto the viewer's emotions a little harder before that moment finally comes and it breaks your heart. What do you think about this reconnecting and this conversation between these characters in the moment?
Well, again, it's all setting up the stakes that like anything could go wrong and someone might bite the dust, and it could be from decisions that one of these people make. More so I'm talking about Callie. Dustin and Steve, it's like I said, we finally needed that moment. They kind of finally had their understanding. I mean, we saw them, like I said, when Dustin just kind of broke down and gave Steve the hug at the I think it was the last episode. But then pulling out the spears again that Dustin and Eddie used, kind of a poignant moment. Like Steve even kind of had to reel back, and he was like, "Look, I was kind of wrong, man. Like he saved your life, he helped the rest of us too, And they got back to their, if you die, I die type thing. Like damn, bro, we're setting up this emotional weight for everybody. Like we said, even with Hopper, it's like because he's on the He said that kid makes talking about Callie. That kid makes one arm move. I swear I'll kill her. I'm just like, no, I believe you would. I really do. I believe you would. And honestly, like I said, I know Hopper always, like we said, seems to be the punch the problem in the face kind of person, kind of just the real brash one. But I'm like, he might be out of line, but he might be right though. I'm sorry, because now it's conveniently segueing into Callie. I'm like, I don't know. It just seems a little too fucking convenient that I'm like, I think she knows that, again, being the one that, if your powers were manipulating what people can see, just doing these illusionist tricks, basically. I think she knows she could have that easy of an influence over Elle. Because I'm like, it's really funny how you're just like, yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you do in the end. It's like, but I know how to do it. It's like, of course you do, don't you? Like, you're the only way this is going to work. And I'm like, no, you just got here. Actually, you just got back here. You were like 3 seasons ago, dude. No way in hell you're like suddenly the most important person in the room. I'm like, I don't know. I don't believe you at all. I'm like I said, I'm on the Hopper level of like, you're about down here somewhere. Down there on the floor. With my level of trust with you. So I feel like she's trying to put that seed into Elle's mind where it's like, oh, that could be a way to deal with this. Because I'm like, why are you going along? And Callie, I'm like, why are you going along with it then? If you're just like, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. It's pointless. It all just keeps coming back. There's always somebody that'll start again. There's always, I'm like, then why do you bother? There has to be something else.
There were many times over the course, after she gets introduced in this season, there were many times where they're talking about things and she's just, and there's a visual that's weird. It's like she's in the shot, but she's sitting back in the corner, kind of not really involved, just watching. And I'm like, that's what the silent villain is usually doing in the serials from the day. Yeah. I'm like, that's a very old movie trope. I was like, I don't know if it's true, but it's there. Real quick, just want to say hi to Cora. Hi, Cora. What's up,
hey,
Cora?
It's Cora. Nice.
Yeah, hopefully you've been catching up on Stranger Things. You know what the hell we're talking about.
She's one of the.
We're down to now. But yeah, their whole like sit down with Will later in this episode. Yeah. But no, even when that whole Will coming out scene, as I'm watching it, I'm like, I thought it was odd that she's just kind of sitting there watching everybody else, watching the room. She's taking in information, and I'm like, it's really weird. It's a really weird thing to do in the moment. But I was like, whatever. I didn't know if that was a tell as to what her intentions really were, or if, again, like you said, she was only around for a little bit of season 3. She's not necessarily important to anything or anybody. They kind of forced her into this. It's like I was kind of like, what are you doing? What are you doing to kind of manipulate things? But again, you'll get all the answers you need in the next episode. Okay. But moving on. Obviously, we finally have the scene that everybody's been talking about. As preparations begin, emotions catch up. Steve and Dustin share a quiet moment. Steve apologizes for what he said. I think we kind of already talked about some of this. Will sits with Joyce and admits that he never told her everything about what Vecna showed him. Vecna attacks by exposing what hurts the most. Will fought back with memories of safety in childhood, but eventually Vecna broke through those. Before he can continue, Mike enters. Will asks him to stay. And with everyone gathered, Will finally speaks openly, says that he's different and always has been. He explained that he does not like girls the way his friends do. Robin acknowledges him quietly. Look, I don't care that Will is gay. I care that they kind of forced it into the show. That's what pisses me off. But two things kind of struck me as I was watching the scene. One is the scene was kind of average. I don't really understand why they shot it the way they did. There was it's like some of the dialogue I didn't quite get. And then the Duffer brothers did go on Twitter and say that it took them 12 hours to shoot that scene, plus 12 hours of reshoots. I was like, so you spent 20 days. I'm gay. He just says I don't like girls, which is a weird way of saying it. But I don't know. The scene to me was very average for all the buildup, and especially with the way things end for Will, I thought it was really anticlimactic. But I mean, look, it happened. It was like I said, it was an average scene. It wasn't a bad scene. It was an average scene. But in the midst of all this preparations for the end of this episode, where they make their run headlong into the Upside Down to start the final battle, they had to deal with this, and they dealt with it. What do you think of them finally coming out with all this and paying off the conversation with Robin?
Like I said, I'm glad it happened finally. I'm kind of with you. I'm like, I'm just a little more pissed of when it happened. I'm like, I think Mike, when he came in, even said like, oh, they're like 15 minutes out. We should probably leave in like 5 minutes or whatever the hell. And it's like, oh, okay. So now is when we should gather everybody, and I should tell you that I'm gay. It's like, dude, read the goddamn room, Will, right now. Like, we got shit, like, we got world-ending shit right now happening. You could have either waited until after. I mean, maybe you're not going to get the moment to tell anybody. I mean, that's fair amongst everybody in that room. But kind of just the weird time to choose to do it. Like I said, I also don't care that Will's gay, and I mean that in every positive sense. Like, great, good for you, dude. We kind of should have done this like maybe a season, maybe 2 seasons ago. Because then it just doesn't feel like it's weird that we're like, oh, we have to do that. We have to do it now. Like,
Well,
okay, final battle, cool, but we got to tell everybody that Will's gay.
And
Great,
this is part of the problem with having 3 calendar years between seasons.
Yeah, because it feels more drawn out.
It's like I had you tell. I'm like, no. In the beginning, he was 8 years old, so you can't tell me he was gay from the beginning. If you're rolling an 8-year-old out there,
right.
You have some mental problems. I was like, now it only makes sense if you make him gay from the beginning. And like I said, I don't really care that he's gay. I care that I feel like it was all forced in there. Will's a solid character. Will is like, he's barely even a part of season 3. Like, this is this character who started it all. And he's a minor character in season 3. He is not really that important. Season 4, I feel like they made him a bigger character so they could have the big reveal at the end of last season where he starts crying because he realizes that Mike likes Elle and not him or whatever. But the other thing that got me is, dude, half these people need to be there. Like,
yeah, I was like, you don't fucking really know anybody maybe past, I don't know. Like, why is Murray there? Why is Vicky there?
Why is Murray there? Why is Vicky there? Why is Robin? I get. Why is
Callie for fucking 2 hours? Like, what?
Why is you can't even see Callie in this because once again, like I said, she's sitting way back in the back. It's like Max, I kind of get. Elle, I kind of get, but even Max hasn't been there from the beginning. Robin, I kind of get because she's been part of his journey this year.
She's kind of the crux of it.
Yeah, she's been. Yeah, like his brother, I get, but it's like I feel
obviously
I would have done
Nancy
this
on his own brother. Like, I get that.
Yeah, I would have done this so much differently. If anything, I would have had him say something to his mom on camera, and then had him coming out to everybody else as part of the epilogue. That would have been better for me because I feel like that personal interaction between him and his mom would have been way more emotional, way more fitting. I've mentioned a couple of times this. Yeah, I've mentioned a couple of times this AI video that somebody made about how it really would have gone down if he'd have announced he was gay in the 80s.
Right.
As funny as that video is, the ending's a little rough. I mean, Elle pulling the gun out and shooting it was a bit much, but I mean, but they have Joyce in there saying something where she looks at, honey, maybe this isn't the best time to make this announcement. And I remember watching the first time thinking, that's exactly what I would have said. It's like, we're getting ready to go in there and try to stop the end of the world. Could this wait 24 hours? Because it may not matter 24 hours from now. Why go through this now? Why pick now to have to drop an emotional bomb on everybody who loves you? Why do that now? That's just bad timing. And I don't think the character Will is stupid. I think he's as smart as anybody else in this show. I find it hard to believe that he'd have thought it was a good idea for him to be like, hey, so here's this really big story, this big character thing about me you never knew. Okay, now let's go fight Vecna. It's like, come on, dude, just. And even in that thing I put on Twitter, it's like they even said Elle looks at him and goes, how does this help us stop Vecna? And I'm like, that's exactly the point. I would have shot this. I would have made this scene a lot smaller. I would have made it a lot more personal. It would have been one thing. Like he could have pulled Joyce aside and his brother, or he could have pulled just his 4 friends from the very beginning of this whole thing, his D&D buddies.
The original crew.
Pulled them as not even Elle. Just pull them aside and say, hey guys, we've been the unit of 4. We've been the team of 4 from the very beginning of this whole thing, from scene 1. I need you guys to know something as my friends. Whether he admits to Mike his feelings for him doesn't really matter. Just say, hey, this is me. This is who I am, and I just want you guys to know that no matter what, I love you guys, and let's go fucking beat Vecna. And they could have had this whole hands-in moment, 1, 2, 3, go team, and that would have been great. And then again, it's a much more personal moment. But like Murray standing there like, I don't care. It's like
I actually looked over at Murray. He's still got his hands in his pocket. I'm like, right. I don't think Murray really knows or really
Vicky's
cares.
Standing there like, and it's like I met you 10 minutes ago. It's like, why do I need to know this really personal thing about you right now? It just
also, it's kind of like, did he even kind of pull? He kind of pulled Robin under the bus too a little bit because like if people knew who Tammy was, they're like, wait a minute, Robin knows Tammy. I'm like. For all the work that went into it, it was just not. It was very average. It didn't need to be all these people. It's like I don't think was Hopper even in the room for this. It's like, actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch, but it's like I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it's like it was just. I would have done the scene differently to give it more emotional weight. Let's see. Cora says maybe he was scared he would die and wanted everyone to know his truth. And just
See, that's what I said. I'm like,
you see,
maybe in like he
but I
wouldn't
get
know
that.
if you get the chance to tell them again. That's the only thing I could think of. Like,
I get that, but I'm talking about from a story narrative point of view. That's a real life point of view that I totally understand. But from a narrative point of view, collecting all these people, like a third of them couldn't care less. That's like, it was just really weird. Like people were socially awkward with bad timing, don't know when to say something and where to be appropriate. Well, yeah, but again, Mike's not stupid, or Will's not stupid. He's every bit as smart and put together. He might be a little more emotional than most of the characters, but it's like he's not dumb. He knows how to read the room. He's been fighting Vecna for as long as anybody else has been fighting Vecna in this series. But like I said, I would have made it a smaller conversation with him and his mom or him and his friends, and then made the larger coming out thing a part of the epilogue, because
that could have made sense.
I don't want to spoil too much next episode, but there's something in the epilogue that I thought was kind of funny. His name is not Velcro. Vecna. Watch the show, Cora. Watch the show. You'll get a kick out of it. It's got elements of horror, but I think you can handle it. I don't know. The last episode though, it gets pretty brutal. Last episode.
Those Demodogs and Demogorgons and shit, when they attack those soldiers, man, that was some brutal shit. Right to that guy's skull. Like, oh Jesus, oh shit. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. The last episode is pretty good. But yeah, blowing up the Demi-Dogs, that was a pretty dope move too. But
that's why I've got my line like 5 minutes into the episode, and like, yeah, Mrs. Wheeler came and did the laundry. I was like, God damn it, that's the quote for tonight. I fucking love that. Hell yes.
Was that Robin or Vicky? That was Robin, wasn't it?
It had to be Robin. That sounds like a thing Robin would say.
It does sound like Robin, but I thought I couldn't remember at first because I was like, it'd be really cool if Vicky, who was very new to this, who at that point it's like 15 minutes into her journey into understanding what the hell even was going on, if she comes out with a one-line like that'd have been awesome. But again, let's not ignore the importance of this right here. They've been kind of teasing all this for the last 3 or 4 episodes of how it may have to end for everybody with powers, and this is the one that, other than the talk between Hop and Joyce, was the one that I was paying most attention to. And I actually went, as I was watching it the first time, I actually went back, I actually rewinded a little bit and listened to the conversation again because I wanted to catch every detail. But those were some very important conversations that were had in that one scene. We're sitting there planning the big attack, but. And then eventually Henry he begins to merge, and I thought this was really cool. I laughed at this. I'll tell you why in a minute. Night falls as the group infiltrates the military base using Murray's truck and Mr. Clark's device. Gunfire erupts, and we actually get this really banger of a view right here. Gunfire erupts as they break through and disappear into the Upside Down. Dr. K watches helplessly. Inside Henry's lair, Holly wakes up to find the other children gathered around her. Henry tells them they need Holly to complete their task. He frames Max as a liar who tried to corrupt her. Holly pushes back, insisting that Max helped her. When Derek hesitates, Henry's influence wins. Holly fights, striking Mary and another child with a radio before being restrained. He falls down the stairs, injured and overwhelmed. And of course, we get one of these moments where it's a very foreshadowy kind of moment. What did I do with it? I moved my pictures around again and I lost where it was. But there it is right here. And losing her necklace and the D&D figure that Mike gave to her. Yes, she falls down the stairs, injured and overwhelmed. In the final moments, candles are lit around the table. Mr. What's it? And then all their eyes turn white, and we get this kind of cool moment right here, which again made me kind of laugh. Let's talk about first where. The breaking into Hawkins, driving in there, gunfire erupting. Then obviously Kay comes out with all her guys. They're going to guns. She has a good shot lined up, and as she peers into the truck, all she sees is this right here, the hero pose for L, and everybody going there to do their thing. I thought that was a pretty banger moment. What do you think about that moment in particular?
That was kind of the You can't see it, but there's a giant middle finger standing where L's at. Like, that's what she was giving Kay the middle finger right there. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
I'm surprised she didn't. I'm really surprised she didn't just look at her and go.
Right.
That would have been kind of totally par for the course. That would have been totally par for the course.
Oh yeah. Because I was kind of hoping we'd still get more of Dr. K's character. She even kind of had like a little Linda Hamilton fucking Sarah Connor moment when she like she's like this big and she fucking just throws that soldier against the car and she's like, listen here, motherfucker, you're gonna listen to me and do what the fuck I tell you to do. I'm like, yeah, there she is. Hey, there's that. So I was like, why we have Rambo Nancy? Hold on. Yeah, that right there. When I hope this soldier in his stupid bowl cut fucking bite it by the end because I'm getting annoyed. I'm getting annoyed with this dude. I get it. It's like you're playing the character well because I hate your character because it's like I'm mad that you're alive and it's like, man, I need you to fucking bite it by the end. And he even kind of it's like, man, you're taking pokes at the bear. When he's like, God damn, lady, all you can say is just you got to find the girl. And she just slams me in this truck and is like, listen here, dude. I tell you what to do. And if you'd done your fucking job right, this wouldn't have fucking happened. I'm like, damn. It just leaves him there. I'm like, yeah, you don't mess with her. She's trying to put it all in perspective for him. So hopefully that little pep talk there helped.
Yeah, the finale gives me a lot of thoughts about General K. I'm not going to go into them now because some were kind of
because she does say something interesting. She's like, "This isn't a war. This is like, this is something else." I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's the point to her." So I'm like, "Yeah, she's not really." Is it that like you're not a bad guy, but like you're kind of a bad guy?
Well, and we've talked several times over the course of these breakdowns about like, especially in the first half, the first volume of episodes, what is her deal? Is she a bad guy? Is she just another version of Papa? Is she secretly trying to clean this stuff up? Like, is she kind of closetly a good guy? Like, what is she? Now, they answer those questions very quickly. But, I mean, still, she is like Vincent D'Onofrio's character in one of the when he's trying to train the Velociraptors to go to war. He's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, good intentions. If this bad shit is gonna exist, it needs to exist on my team, not on the enemy's team. Because if this is gonna fuck everybody up, I want to fuck with the bad guys. And even she says in the scene, she's just like, I want these things out there killing Russians, not killing Americans. Like she says it when she puts them against the wall. So it's like her intentions, at least on the larger scale, are good, but she is kind of cutthroat and ruthless into achieving those things. So yeah, she wants to defend America, which is great, but she doesn't seem to care that this entire town of Hawkins, Indiana, has essentially been sacrificed for the greater good. It's like decent people would still weigh on them, even though they want the greater good. She doesn't seem to care. And they make that very evident in the second volume. After, like, from episode 5 on, they make it very clear that she is not ambiguous about her intentions.
That's why they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah,
like that's kind of what, and that kind of helps with the whole like Russian storyline. We're like, oh, maybe that's kind of what that was about. Maybe the reason this is why that thing between Callie and Elle is kind of interesting, because it's like maybe they thought that using Callie would work. I'm like, yeah, like we said, maybe she's using if she got a hold of Elle, it's like maybe she can use that to help try to like do it for the right reasons, or try to make this like you said, controlled in her corner, not letting it out and causing the chaos that it is. So I don't know. Maybe she's trying to do it with the right intentions, and it's not malicious. She's not just trying to let this shit loose on the world. That's what Vecna's doing, right? So yeah, I don't know. She just has like the funding and backing of the military to kind of carry out what she's trying to do. So gotta break some omelets to make some eggs, or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Break eggs, omelets, all that.
Yeah, and then of course they all get together, and I couldn't help but laugh at the scene when it happened, because I was in my mind. I was kind of like thinking of the scene at the table with Beetlejuice when they start singing Deo.
Damn it! Winona Ryder is in this series, so
that's what I think. It might be one of the reasons I thought of it. There was like a small like subliminal connection between Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice. But it's like they all sit down and they're talking, they're holding hands, and all of a sudden their eyes all turn wide and they look up, and like immediately my mind went to like which one of these kids is going to jump up and start being, I was like, somebody start singing Deo. That would be so great. If one of them didn't, like in an outtake, jump up and start singing Deo, I'd be pissed. There has to be a cutscene somewhere. And if the Duffer Brothers didn't shoot that shit on purpose, I'd be very upset. But yeah, that's kind of where everything ends. Obviously, he's uploading all the kids into the Matrix, as it were, and getting ready for his final push towards his end game. Quite a way for the show to end. Everything is now in place. The chessboard is now all arranged for the final attack by everybody on everybody else. Again, it's very important stuff happening in the last few minutes. A lot of great cinematic shots. Going out of this episode, what were you left thinking, Jay? Were you excited? Were you still wondering? Is there still a lot of questions? What were you thinking when you watched this last episode?
Kind of the same thing we've said a couple times, where it doesn't feel like I don't really remember how long this episode was. If it was maybe an hour, it kept me engrossed enough to where I was just like, "Oh crap, this is it! Like here we go." It is now getting real. Like when they said, imagine, like Will says to Joyce, like, if he could do that with just me, like imagine what he would do if he had like 12 kids at his disposal to, wreak havoc the way he does. And that, that link is now complete. Now we have that set in place, and it's like, it's time. It's November 6th. So here we go. I'm curious to see where this goes. Like I said, I have not seen it yet. So I'll save that for a weekend when I have 6 hours to watch the whole fucking ending. So
I will tell you that the final episode, it's a lot like Endgame. Yes, it's 12 hours long.
That's what I was thinking, but doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it. It's edited together perfectly. It's like it's pretty nonstop. Things happen. A lot of the questions finally start to get answered, and once they start tying up all these story ends, it doesn't really stop until the credits start to roll. Even in this slower part, in the last because the last 25-ish minutes is all epilogue, and even that has got a lot of very emotional stuff to it. There's still things that are kind of,
I'm sure,
tied up. A lot of things that there are some things in the finale I'm wondering if you catch, but yeah, it's the ending. It was a lot like Endgame. It's edited and shot and put out there in a way where you never really have a chance to breathe. So I would say about an hour and a half into it, you might have a chance to stand up, go walk around, catch your breath, refill your drink, and sit back down and enjoy the rest of the ride. But you won't. I don't think you're gonna have much of a problem sitting there and watching all this from start to finish. It starts strong and it just goes and goes and goes. And between all the action and emotion, none of your senses are given a break. I mean, from about 30 or 45 minutes in, it's just all one emotion or another is getting triggered in your brain. But it's all very, very good. But I don't know, Jay, give me your final thoughts on episode 7, The Bridge, the penultimate episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah. We're excuse me. Everyone seems to have their plan in place with obviously Vecna and then our D&D party group of friends. So yeah, I'm curious again if we're going with Steve's plan of climbing the radio tower at the Squawk. Like, man, you don't leave a whole lot of window of time if you're just going to wait for it to come to you. Essentially, we're waiting for Vecna to come to them. So hopefully they're ready, and I imagine it's going to be some bonkers shit. It's going to be some end game, even though it feels like it's probably like 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like it because it just hits the gas and goes. So yeah, it's I can't. It's gonna be wild, I'm sure. So I don't know. It's a lot of things I could think of, but I don't know. I couldn't really tell you what I think is gonna happen. But it's in the words of Nick Frost, it's about to go off.
It's about to go off. going to be off the
Off
chain.
the fucking chain.
Off the fucking
Exactly.
chain.
Exactly.
Cora asked a question that's already kind of been partially answered. Do you think there's going to
Oh yeah.
be a spinoff or reboot seasons later? They've also said
There is a
that
spinoff
the spinoff will not. Yeah, they said that the spinoff will not include any of the original characters. Will also not be set in Hawkins. So there is a spinoff. What it's going to be, we have no idea. There will be no more Elle. There will be no more Mike. None of that. So.
Well, there is an animated thing they're doing from like '85, which explains some stuff that happened in between one of the seasons. I'm like, okay,
I think it's between seasons 2 and 3 or something like that. But
yeah, it's from '85, so that's probably about seasons 2 and 3. And I'm like, yeah, you have. I mean, if you have the same actors doing their characters, I'm like, right, because they're all about like in their 40s now. So of course you have to make it animated. You can't go back. You can't go backwards in time, guys. That's a lot of de-aging you'd have to do.
You know,
whatever.
I can see them several years from now, maybe trying to revisit it. I mean, I maybe. I mean, the ending obviously is going to play a part. I know you haven't seen it yet, but I mean, it depends on. But like I said, I always say you're one line of dialogue away from explaining anything you want. So you can bring dead characters back. Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. He's just not coming back as Tony Stark. It could be something as she's coming. Yeah, Elle comes back as Elle Doom. It could. Maybe we'll see. Again, but hey, Macaulay Culkin's even talked about that he wouldn't mind coming back and doing a modern Home Alone where like he's the dad and it becomes a father-son story. And so, and you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Even Daniel Radcliffe has said that he likes the idea of playing older. Whether it happens or not, I have no idea. But I mean, when you have young enough characters, it's interesting to me to think about what their lives were once they get to their 30s and 40s. You know, I've seen plenty of movies from the 80s when I was a kid where I kind of like wonder, I'm like, yeah, the kid was 12 years old and the crazy shit happened to him. What happened to him when he hit 30? Was there some PTSD? Did, you know, whatever alien come back to visit him? I mean, what if E.T. had come back to visit Elliot when he was in his 40s? That's a legitimate question that you have to ask yourself, especially after so many years has gone by. Not that you're going to revisit all these, but I mean, it's there. But, you know, we'll see. Again, a lot of it has to do with the ending of the series.
I mean, they did it with Winnie the Pooh. What if, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi was in his, like, middle age and his childhood, like, buddies from the 100-Acre Wood come back, and it's like, oh, okay.
Or he goes psycho. I start killing people. Jeremy staring.
I was literally trying to make a really good point, and I'm like, that motherfucking gore. Not what I'm talking about.
I will, absolutely, because I think that movie is still plenty watchable. It doesn't have to hurt your enjoyment of the 100-Acre Woods when you were a kid. You can enjoy both. It's okay. Let's see. And of course, Casey comes in towards the end. Of course, he can never come in from the beginning. He's always got to wait till the end. But instead of coming in, you guys he's a more positive. What's up, guys? So go watch Casey as Raw. Link in the description below, as he plays all the side scroller games that are almost as old as I am. But Cora says, he played Hopper just quit Hollywood. Yeah, David Harbour did just actually leave a movie that he already shot some scenes for, so he could go chill out and relax. You know, him and his wife are breaking up and stuff like that. So, you know, let David Harbour take a break. I've seen him in a lot of things. He's been good at them. I was like, you know, I know me and Aaron, we talk a lot about how much we love The Newsroom. I don't know if you ever watched that or not. A very young, relatively skinny and scrawny David Harbour plays a news anchor in that show. It's one of the first things I remember seeing him in. But yeah, he's in that show. He's a regular character in that show, not the lead, but a regular character.
I think
he's good.
The first time I ever saw, I didn't know it was him, obviously, but I think the first time I saw him was in fucking the Suicide Squad from 2016. I forget, he was one of the military guys in the room when Amanda Waller comes in there and shows her idea for, here's what we do if Superman goes rogue. And he's like, after they see the Enchantress shit, it's David Harbour. He goes, I think we should go with Amanda Waller's plan. Like, I was like, all right. After seeing that crazy shit, yeah, maybe you should.
Yeah, if you like The West Wing and like that, go watch news. It's good stuff. But yeah, he's in that. He's like clean cut, shaven, not very like bulky and not very Hopper like. He's, you know, news anchor for a major news network. And he's good at it. The whole show's good though. But yeah, again, I can't talk too much about my expectations because I've already seen the final episode. I will probably watch again this weekend, along with 28 Years Later. The Bone Temple comes out this weekend, Jack. So
yeah, I keep seeing stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, that is like this weekend.
I'm probably going to go see that at some point this weekend, as well as rewatch this episode again. But yeah, it's one episode left. All the stuff gets tied up. I will not spoil anything, but I will say I'm about 93% satisfied with the finale. There's a couple of things that kind of burned me, but overall, I give it. It's a solid like B plus A minus for me. It was a good ending. I think. I think degrees. Yeah, he's getting degrees. That's true. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Again, it was a great way to kind of end the episode with this. that was a great visual. Like Hopper, and Mike just like, get some, bitch. Come on and get some. I thought that was a really cool look, and that leads us into the final episode, which I think is good. I think Jeremy's going to enjoy it. I think you're going to enjoy it if you haven't seen it already. So go give it a watch. We'll go ahead and wrap things up there, and we'll prepare for the next thing we do, which is going to be going back to Fallout on Thursday. Jeremy, where can the folks find you, my friend?
Yep, like you said, this Tuesdays, Thursdays, and this coming Thursday is more Fallout. So I'll be here again, bringing my fat stacks of notes for Fallout, because if it's something that at least I know I can bring my expertise in, it's that. So I'm excited. I want to say I bet we could catch up on Fallout. Since we'll run out of Stranger Things before we run out of Fallout, so we could double up a week of a whole week of Fallout.
I think we'll probably do that. I think we'll probably do that again on Fallout, but that's still a couple weeks away at least. Yeah,
so I'm excited. I think talking to somebody in our friend group who didn't quite realize that we're a week behind. It didn't spoil anything for me really. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, you also know I'm a week behind, right? He's like, oh shit, I didn't know that. I'm like, it's fine. We were talking about how much of a piece of shit Hank McLean is. I'm like, I know. I think easily becoming one of my new favorite villains of like a fictional villain, because like, god damn, this dude is just slimy as all hell. God damn, with a smile on his face too. It's the worst kind.
Yeah, he is most definitely a piece of shit, and for some reason, it's not letting me scroll down on the thing again to start the music. So Jay, if you could hit the music for me, I don't know why it does that. But anyway, play it again, Sam. Yeah, we will see you guys on Thursday as we break down episode. Was it 4? Episode 4 of I'm pretty sure it's episode 4 that we're on of Fallout. Another great show that we're being blessed with right now. So we've had a couple of really good shows to talk about the last few weeks. Very cool. We will see you guys on Thursday. Till then, adios. And we got to do something soft that will bring Cora back into the fold for just a couple of minutes. I haven't talked to Cora in a while. Yeah. So maybe we need to get back into doing the Downton Abbey stuff. Yeah, we definitely have to do that. we're only about 5 years behind in the Downton Abbey shit. I've moved twice since we started that. If that tells you anything.
Oh Jesus! I've probably since gotten married since you guys have done that.
Yeah, you really have. Lots happened. Bye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.